Hi, my name is Kevin O'Hara. I also go by Captain Mudslinger, CaptainMudslinger.com. I have a pottery studio in Afton, Minnesota, and I'm sitting here with my friend Sarah, and I just had some things I wanted to talk about. Primarily what has been going on in the world today. So I wanted to say something about gun control and mental illness. So, first off, who's this guy? Well, I started working with clay back in '73. I was a freshman in high school, and I had a teacher who was a very talented potter, and I pretty much back then I got a college level education in ceramics in high school. Oh, they make you enter contests, and junior and senior year, I was a finalist in the National High School Art Show, so that was kind of cool. But, everybody has struggles. Well, my mom worked at the high school, and the spring of my junior year, she ran the mimeograph machine. Well, the spring of my junior year, she had a stroke at the school, and died the next day, and that was rather traumatic. So that's my high school. So right after high school, my teacher, he went to Illinois State, and so I went to Illinois State, and because they let me in. And it was the spring semester that I started, and my ceramics teacher, I signed up for ceramics too, and the ceramics teacher just kind of looked at me like, you can just go across the hall to advanced ceramics. And I'd never been to college before. So I went in there and made a pot on the wheel, and I'm like, look what I can do. And everybody, the feeling I got from people was like, who do you think you are? Hot stuff or something? Because, I could throw pots as well as the grad student, but I was there to learn, and I was young, and I wasn't really a clicky person. And so they were already clicked because it was Ceramics 3 and they all knew each other, so I just didn't feel welcome. So I was just being myself, but apparently I was supposed to be something else. And so I went from department to department in the art school, sculpture, painting, drawing, and I got proficient at all of it. But I was weird and different because I was me, being me. So that meant I really didn't get a mentor. Mentors, they teach you the unwritten rules of the game. So I never really learned how to play the game. I had to figure it out for myself. So after college, I had to work. And boy, I've had a lot of different jobs, and primarily because I think bosses don't like creative people because they're hard to control. I've had numerous restaurant jobs. I attended bar at a Greek nightclub in Waukegan, Illinois, and a black disco and a Elks Lodge in Bloomington, Illinois. All different kinds of people there. Then I moved up to the Twin Cities. More, all different kinds of construction, call center. I've done computer animation, So after a while, I thought, well, I really kind of need to do something, get a job with my art. So I thought maybe I'll go back and get another degree. So I got another degree in broadcast communications with a Bible minor from North Central, because I thought, well, maybe I can use my art in television, because there's a lot of creativity there, but nobody told me that everything was freelance. And that's just, that dog-eat-dog atmosphere just wasn't for me. So, more jobs. My last job was Comcast, and that was, I didn't mind work. I enjoyed helping people, but just the pressure of the environment. Next thing you knew, I was 102 temperature and in the hospital with diverticulitis, and I had to have 9 inches of my colon cut out. So I'm lying there, flat on my back in the hospital, thinking, I got to do something with my art. So that was what lit the fire, and we mortgaged the house, and I built Mudslinger Pottery about 12 years ago, 12, 13 years ago. And since then, I've taken over 2,500 people by the hands, and I've helped them make a pot in the clay. So that's what I do, is I help people create with clay. I have all different kinds of people that come through. Gay, straight, fat, skinny, rich, poor, challenged, genius, and everybody in between. It's my job to be kind to people. I get to go through that invisible wall and touch that vulnerable soul and be kind and gentle. Kind of what I try to teach is, when you're working with the clay, the most important thing is you. You need to be in control of you. You know? So in one word, I always start with, in order to work with the clay, one needs to be meek. And meek is not weak, it's very strong. It's strength and control, but gentle. So that's what I try to teach with the clay, is self-control and gentleness. So, now that I've made an introduction, and this is who this goofy person is that you're looking at here, I had to write this out so that I can get my thoughts clear. Anyway, the problem is not guns and gun control. The problem we're all facing is progressivism from both sides of the aisle. I understand progressivism started over 100 years ago and did much to help the working class that was struggling under this new industrial age. But progressivism has gone from being a solution to a cancer that is eating away our very way of life for decades now. It has been crippling our whole culture from the inside out. Okay, that's a strong statement. But actually, I was just watching that show the other day on the History Channel about the men who built America. Talk about Harvey Weinstein. He was a Boy Scout compared to those guys. Okay. This happened recently. I was one of about 20 people from across the country that were flown to LA around mid-December to be part of a commercial that hasn't aired yet for the Yahoo Newsroom app. That one of the things I remember saying was, I said that when you have a culture that takes a person's self-worth away and gives one nowhere to turn, people snap. This is what I learned, especially with working with all these people. That everyone has value. You know, everyone has something good to give back. You know, the solution could take as long as it's taken for the progressives to cripple our culture. One solution is to teach children from an early age self-reliance, kindness, gentleness, and self-control. When a culture teaches or trains its people to be helpless, selfish, and reliant on government, millions of working age people not working, and millions of the population on food stamps, this is what one gets. A population in most every major city on the brink of mental breakdown, one person at a time, affecting us all. What I'm trying to say is, it seems I always burp when I'm talking. So. Our culture is sick and has lost its moral compass. We are dealing with mental illness on multiple levels throughout our society. Mental illness can be caused by a myriad of variables. But what I'm trying to say here is that the lack of morality and the fast pace of our culture, cars, TV, computers, high-speed internet, etc. People, especially children, have no standard to measure themselves by when dealing with the onslaught of the information age. Spot here. Yeah, and the thing I was watching the other day how the men who built America, with the railroads and the oil and the electricity and the steel, all these people went into the cities. And now the jobs are gone because they've moved overseas. So now you still have millions of people in all these cities, but they don't have a job. Anyway, we have no moral compass to guide proper behavior that was removed in the early 60s when they took prayer out of the schools. Rarely in life are we dealing with just one problem at a time, but at the same time, we need our yes to be yes and our no to be no. I offended my neighbor the other day because I insulted his religion of progressivism. Probably didn't realize it was a religion. Saying that it had become a cancer to society. To me, religion is just like another political party created by men to control men. It has nothing to do with spirituality. My neighbor, he identifies as an atheist, and I asked him if he had a standard to measure human behavior. Someone that works with computers and writes software programs has to follow certain rules when writing software programs, or the program won't work. A 0 is a 0 and a 1 is a 1. It's an absolute truth. I have a standard, and that standard is Jesus, His Word, and the Bible. He's absolute. I too struggle and fail daily. But at least I have a standard. I have someone to aspire to, even though I fail daily. So, I asked my neighbor what his standard for human behavior was. This was his answer. I guess treating others as you would like to be treated goes a long way towards avoiding bad behavior. Empathy, putting yourself in other people's shoes helps. In general, like my dad used to tell me, be a part of the solution and not part of the problem. This treating others as you would like to be treated is fine to a point. But what about other religions that do not have respect for human life, but instead promote hate, fear, and violence? We were all given a standard thousands of years ago from God to Moses and then to us, the Ten Commandments. I would venture to guess that most people can agree with most of them, but I think the problem many people have is the first one. We have to worship God alone. Not money, power, computers, or whatever else you lust after. Anyway, I've tried to simplify them here. Number one, worship God alone. Simple. Number two, you can't make a picture of sculpture of God. I mean, how are you going to make a picture of someone who created everything? Can't do it. Don't curse God. Well, this one, number 4, blows me away. Rest. He says, okay, work 6 days a week, 1 day a week, rest. We don't rest. Number 5, honor your parents. Makes sense. Another one makes sense. Don't kill. Don't cheat or commit adultery. Don't steal. Don't lie. Don't covet or lust after your neighbor or their property. Pretty simple. Okay? But worship most everything except God. We create objects of worship all the time. Did you see the Oscars the other day? Thanks for laughing. We curse God, our Creator. We constantly overwork ourselves and rarely take time to rest. We're exhausted. We have children disrespecting and even killing their parents. We have people killing people with little or no regard to the preciousness of life, Now, I just got this quote the other day from this website. This was yesterday. Over 60,240,865 people, babies, have been aborted since 1973. And that number's gone up. And that's just in our country. The website is numberofabortions.com. We have people disrespecting commitments and even joining clubs to cheat on each other. Really? Stealing has become a way of life. When we bought our house, the guy sitting on the other side of the table, I knew he was taking advantage of us, but we wanted the house. And he's laughing and goes, well, nothing personal, it's just business. Yeah, but you're ripping me off. Thanks for laughing. We can't trust what anyone says anymore. Fake news and fabrications, all for personal gain, or whatever their agenda is. Coveting, lust, and greed is the cornerstone of most marketing plans. You ever seen the movie? There's a movie quote, greed is good. Well, even though we were given a standard thousands of years ago, it seems as though we've never been able to follow it. Quite simply, love and kindness begets love and kindness, and hate begets hate. Each and every one of us struggles, rich and poor, and everything in between. We all struggle, and no one is immune. We all need to learn that others, no matter who they are or what their background is, are our brothers and sisters. And they're worth our compassion, and they're better than ourselves. We need to recreate a culture of freedom, self-reliance, and compassion, where people are free to succeed and free to fail. A compassionate culture will always have safety nets, for those people who've had to undergo tragedy, but we can't allow the safety nets to be the norm and be abused by such a large portion of the population. We can't afford it. More importantly, we need to try and remove the stigma of the mental health issue. People under extreme stress need to have access to counseling without fear of judgment, so that their issues can be resolved without them snapping and going out with a bang. And of course, bring jobs back to the inner cities so people can take care of themselves and their families without governmental intervention. Give people their self-pride back by providing decent paying jobs that can give a person self-respect, instead of some crappy minimum wage job that was supposed to be for some high school kid anyway. And all those jobs are now being replaced by robots. Anyway, paraphrase. Give someone a fish, and he'll be hungry tomorrow. Teach somebody to fish, and one will feed themselves tomorrow. Love and kindness begets love and kindness. Hate begets hate. And I choose love. Thanks for letting me express myself. Took a lot. I've been thinking about this, in trouble every time I watch the TV. All I was trying to say and teach, same thing as I teach to my pottery class. Love, kindness, gentleness, self-control. We don't have a problem with guns. We have a problem with the culture. We're sick. And we have to help each other. So, I came up with this idea. Everybody matters. This person matters. This International Women's Day. Black Lives Matter. These matter. You know what? Everybody matters. Everybody matters. So let's start a new campaign. Everybody matters. A campaign of kindness. Make it cool to be kind. So, just want to finish saying, a prayer. And I pray peace, wisdom, and compassion. In Jesus' name, amen.